Now I will start discussing about what is serialization and how to implement serialization in the REST assured API testing, and also we'll see the with an example. Now I will go to the postman tool here. So here I'm using the create booking API. So serialization is nothing but converting the Java class objects into the JSON object. So what we will do in this example is, so if you look at this API request body of the create booking API, so here we have total two JSON objects. First one is having the 5 fields and second one is having the 2 fields. So what we will do is we will create the two POJOs which is having the all these fields. So we'll create the first Java class with the booking and we'll specify all these fields within the booking class, and we'll create another class called booking dates. Within that we'll specify these two fields, and with respect to that we'll generate the getters and setters, and we'll specify the value by using the setters. So now I will go to the Eclipse here, and here I'm going to create the package. So here I'm specifying the package name as com.testautomation.apitesting.pojos. So that's it. So inside this package I will add the one class called booking, and similarly I will add another class called booking dates. Here I'll say booking dates. That's it. So now I will go back to the booking.java class. So here I will specify the all the keys which are there in the API request body. So I will go back to the postman tool. So we have to create the variables with the private all these fields. So let's specify the first field, first name, and here I'll specify the private, and here I'll say string, and I'll specify the key name. So make sure that you are adding the exact key name which is there inside the request body. So similarly I will add the last name and additional dates. So these are the string type. I will add the private string, and followed by that I'll specify the last name, and similarly I will add the additional dates of type string type. So make sure that you are adding the exact key name, otherwise you will get the exceptions at the runtime. So we have added 3 string variables, and after that we have to specify the total price of type integer, and we have to create another variable of type boolean. So let's add the total price of type integer. So here I'll say private int, and here I'll say total price, and I'll create another variable called boolean of type boolean. Here I'll specify the key name as deposit paid. So that's it. Then we have to create the another reference variable of type booking dates type. So that's the reason here I'm creating the reference variable of booking dates. So that's it. So make sure that this reference variable name is exactly same as the request body. So simply specify the reference variable name as booking dates in the smaller case. So that's it. So let's add similarly check-in and checkout string type of variables inside the booking dates class. So here I'm adding private string check-in, and I will add similarly checkout also. So if you look at this request body, so inside booking dates we have the 2 variables. First one is check-in and the second variable is checkout. So let's add another variable. So I'll add the private here and of type string, and here I'll say checkout. So that's it. So after adding the variables or the keys, we need to generate the getters and setters for all these variables, right? So you need to select all these variables and right click on that, and here you can go to the source and select the option as generate getters and setters, And here you can individually select each variable one by one, or you can click on this select all. If you click on this select all, it will select all the variables, and simply click on generate. So that's it. So after generating the getters and setters, so we need to add the one constructor in this class. So one is a default constructor, so we will not write anything inside the default constructor, and also we have to add one more constructor, that is after parameterized. So here I'll say the public, because every constructor will be the public here in the Java, right? So here I'm specifying the public followed by the class name as the constructor name. So similarly, I will add the parameterized constructor, and this parameterized constructor will accept all these values. So that is first name, last name, additional needs, and so on. So here I'll specify the string and followed by f name. So that's the first name, and after that I'll say l name, that is nothing but last name, and I'll specify the a needs, that is nothing but additional needs. Then I will say int t price, that is nothing but total price. So we will use all these variables for the setting the values whenever we are creating the object of the booking class. So after total price, we have to specify the deposit paid. So here I'll say boolean, as I'll say t paid, that is a deposit paid, and followed by the I'll accept the another type of argument, that is the booking dates. Here I'll say b dates. So that's it. So whenever I'm creating the object of booking class, I need to pass all these data. So after once I got the data, I will set it here by using the setters. So here I'm calling to the method called set first name. So here we have to specify the f name inside that. So let's set the another set of fields. Let's set the last name. So after last name, let's set the additional needs. Then after additional needs, let's set the total price. And after that, let's set the deposit paid. And after that, let's set the last reference data, that is the booking dates data. So here I'm using the set booking dates, and simply I'm passing these b dates here over here. So every variable is passed over here. So whenever I'm creating the object of booking, so we'll pass all the values and we will set by using the all these setters. So that's it. So this is all about the booking class. So in the booking dates class, we have created just variables of type private. So let's generate the getters and setters for these two variables. And here I'll say generate getters and setters, and I will select all the variables and I'll say generate. So that's it. So after generating all the getters and setters, so simply we have to create the two constructors. One is default constructor. So here I'll say public, I'll say booking dates, and this will not accept any argument. And in the second constructor, I will add the two parameters. First one is cin, that is a check-in, and I'll specify another parameter as cout, that is a checkout. And inside this constructor, I will set the all these values, that is a cin and cout. So here I'll use the set check-in by using the cin value, and I will set the checkout also by passing the cout as the parameter. So that's it. So this is all about creating the POJOs. So so far we have created the booking.java class, and also we have created the booking dates Java class, and also we have specified the respective keys, and also we have generated the getters and setters for each of the members. Then finally we have created the constructor to set the values whenever we create the object of the respective classes. So now inside the pom.testautomation.api testing.tests, so I will create the one class called post API request using POJOS. That's it. I will click on finish button. So here I will add the simple testng test method. So here I'll say @test, and below that I'll specify public void. Here I'll say post API request. So that's it. So 80% of the work is done. Another 20% of the work is left out. Let's import this @test from the testng. So mainly the focused task is creating the POJOS classes. So in our case, one is that booking.java class and second one is bookingdates.java class. So here we have already created the @test method. Inside this, simply we will create the object of the booking.java class and we'll create another object of the booking dates. So first we'll create the booking dates object and we can pass this booking dates object to the booking class, right? So let's create an object of the booking dates and also we'll pass the value. So inside the constructor. So that's it. So this particular constructor, it is accepting two type of argument. One is check-in date, and second one is checkout date, right? So simply I'll specify 2023-03 and I'll pass some date here, and followed by that I'll specify the checkout date 2023 followed by month, and followed by I'll specify some date over here. So that's it. Our booking dates Java class object is ready, and we will create another Java class object that is of type booking. So here I'm creating the object of booking, and here I'll say new, and followed by that I'll say booking. So firstly we have to pass the first name to the booking class constructor, that is API testing, I'll say here, and we need to pass the last name as tutorial, and followed by we have to pass the additional needs, I'll say breakfast, and followed by we have to specify the price, that's the total price, here I'll say 1000, and after that we have to pass the deposit paid, so I'll pass the boolean value as true, and followed by that we have to specify the booking dates object, right? Already we have created in the line number booking dates object. Simply I'll copy this object and I'll pass it over here. So that's it. Let's import this particular class. So done. So far we have created the two POJOS, and also we are able to set the values by creating the Java class objects. So now we need to use the one Maven dependency called JSON data point. By using that, we can serialize the Java class objects into the JSON object. So you can go to the google.com and here you can search for JSON data point Maven dependency. And here you can go to the Maven repository official website. So I will use the 2.14.1 version. You can use any of the version, so it will work fine. So simply I will copy this Maven dependency and I will go back to the Eclipse, and here I will open the pom.xml file and I will maximize this one, and I will specify the Maven dependency inside the dependency stack, and after that simply save the pom.xml file, and if you look at here, it is going to build the project for you with the downloading JSON data point API. So it is done. So let's close this pom.xml file. Again, let's open the post API request using POJOS.java class. So once we added the JSON data point API, so we need to create the object of the object mapper. So by using this object mapper, So make sure that it is coming from the com.fasterxml.jackson.data point. So by using this object, we can serialize the Java class object into the JSON object. That's it. So by using this object mapper object, I am going to call to the one method called writer with default pretty printer. So after calling this method, I am going to call one more method called write value as string. So if you look at this second method over here, so write value as string. So it is accepting the object, and after that it is returning as the string type of data. So simply we'll pass the object as the booking in our case, and simply I will copy this booking object and I will pass it here. That's it. So after calling this method, it is going to return as the string type of data. Let's assign back to the string type of variable. So here I'll say request body. So let's surround this whole method with the try and catch block. So here I'll say surround with try and catch block. That's it. So that's the reason we were getting the error in this particular line. So we got the request body, right? So by using the object mapper, we are able to serialize the data by calling to the writer with default pretty printer dot write value as a string, and inside that we have specified our Java class object of type booking. Then it is returning as the string type of data. So this particular string variable is holding the JSON object. So let's print out that particular string in the console output. So here I'll use the system.out.println, and simply I will copy this variable and I'll paste it here. So that's it. So this is how you can create the POJOs, and this is how you can serialize the data. So let's execute this test-ng test, and we should be able to print this particular request body. So this is the JSON object, right? So this is what we have prepared by using the Java class object. So now we are converting that into the JSON object. And if you look at this one, so our test is getting passed and it is printing as the JSON object, right? So all the fields, it has the fields and respective values for the right side, right? So this is how you can create the POJOs, and this is how you can implement the serialization in the REST assured API testing. So far we have discussed how to implement the serialization in the API testing. Now I will discuss how to implement the deserialization. So deserialization is opposite to the serialization. So where we will convert the JSON object into the Java class object. That is nothing but the deserialization. So let us implement the deserialization. I will discuss how to deserialize any JSON object into the Java class object. So here I'll say deserialization. Then here I will use the object mapper object, and after that I will call to the one method called read value. So in this method I will pass the JSON object and the Java class object type. So request body is holding the JSON object. I will copy this variable and I will pass on to the read value method, and we want to convert this JSON object into the booking class Java object, right? So that's the reason simply I will copy this line number 18 booking class, and here I will add it booking dot, here I'll specify the class. That's it. So this particular method read value, it returns the of type value is booking type. So that's the reason I'm saving that value into the booking type. Here I'll say booking. I'll specify the reference variable name as booking details. That's it. So by using the booking details, I can access any data. So it can be the first name, last name, or it can be the check-in or the checkout dates. So let's try to access the first name and the total price, and after that I will discuss how to access the booking dates, that's the check-in date and checkout date. So those are the variables, those are the keys which are there inside the another class object, that is a booking dates object, right? So that's the reason we'll discuss that bit later. So let's try to access the first name and total price. So by using the booking object, so we'll use this particular reference variable. By using this one, we can access the our data. So here I'm using the system.out.println, and inside this I will use the booking details reference variable. By using that reference variable, so we have already implemented the or getters to get the value, right? So simply I will say here first name. So this particular method will return us the first name from the booking object. So let's try to access the total price also. So simply I will copy the same line and I will paste it here. So instead of first name, I'll say here total price. That's it. So let's execute this test-ng test. Later we will access the check-in date which is there inside the booking dates object. So let's execute this test-ng test, and it should print us the first name and the total price. So if you look at this console output, firstly it is printing as the JSON object. So this is printing after serialization of the Java class object into the JSON object, and after that here we are seeing the first name and the last name. So these two values are printing after the deserialization. So let's discuss how to access the values which are there inside the booking dates class, right? So let's maximize this window. Now here I will use the again system.out.println. By using booking details reference variable, here I'm going to call to the method called get booking dates. So inside this we have the check-in and checkout data, right? So here I'm accessing the check-in, that is a get check-in data. So this will print me the check-in date. So let's try to print the even checkout also. So here instead of check-in I will say checkout, get checkout data. That's it. So let's execute this test and it should print the check-in and checkout at the end of the test. So let's maximize this console window, and if you look at this one, at the end it is printing the check-in and checkout date after the deserialization. So this is how you can deserialize the Java class object into the JSON object into the Java class.